Hey there, Laker fans. Welcome to another episode of Lakers Detailed. I am your host, Vinay, with my co host, Raj. Raj, the Lakers are knee deep in the blue waters of Cancun as we watch the continuing part of the playoffs. We have a lot of interesting things happening. Injuries starting to catch up to a lot of teams. Steph getting hurt with the left hamstring. Today, I was watching the Celtics Knicks game 4, where the Knicks make a furious comeback, and Jason Tatum gets a really crazy injury. It looks really bad. I'm hoping it's not anything too bad, but it's that it just kind of happens. It does. Pacers look like they're going to go back to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is crazy
Yeah,
because I don't think anybody had them earmarked there. And then the biggest news of the day: the Dallas Mavericks, with 1.8% chance of winning the lottery,
crazy.
win the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. And not only that, Raj, but somehow the San Antonio Spurs moved up into the number 2 spot. And now they're armed with a bunch of players and draft picks and all that sort of stuff too as well. So a lot of basketball stuff that's been happening for a while. And then obviously the news with the Cooper Flag. I don't know where you want to start. If you want to talk about some of the other playoff basketball we watch, anything that's popped out to you, or we could just jump right into the Cooper Flag thing because we're going to talk about the Giannis stuff that's come out
Well,
for sure.
before we get into that, you mentioned Celtics, Knicks. Obviously, we have a rooting interest in that,
Yes,
and you never want that to be decided by injuries, which I don't think it
absolutely not.
was.
Yeah.
The Knicks were up when Tatum went down, at least pretty significantly in the time of game. I just want to focus on that fourth quarter, Vinay, where Brunson just goes nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching that going, this is kind of what the playoffs delude to, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of just your best player, can they hit tough, contested jump shots? Did you see anything that the Knicks were doing that was special? Or was this just Brunson excellence to you? Because I came away from that this is Brunson. Mikal Bridges hit a tough shot. I think OG hit like a contested 3, but
Yeah. Step back
uh,
contested 3. Yeah.
the step backs, yeah. Was that just them hitting tough shots and kind of powering through? Was there anything I guess the Knicks were doing? Because it's Celtics, I mean, they had one of the best defenses in the league
Yeah.
this year. This is a incredibly well-oiled machine, as much as the jokes are about their threes. The threes went in tonight. But yeah, I was watching that going, man, this is kind of what you need. And you need a guy that can hit tough freaking shots consistently. And I thought Brunson was just magnificent. Kind of underrated. I guess I wasn't as high as Brunson as a number one, but he's kind of changed my thought. Just your thoughts on that fourth quarter, obviously putting the Tatum stuff
Yeah.
aside to it. This was most people had the Celtics running off 4 straight. That was kind of the view after their game 3 win. I thought that was a gutsy win. I just wanted to kind of speak about that. I thought that was extremely impressive by the Knicks and Brunson, and Mikal Bridges hit a top fadeaway jump shot. I just all the cool conversations of how you can create good offense, and sometimes it's just can you beat your guy and get
Yeah.
to a spot and score, and Brunson did that incredibly.
Yeah. So I think that's a great question because that's also a recurring topic amongst Lakers Twitter about the organized offense versus what this ugly, devolved isolation basketball, not
Yeah,
really hunting your mismatches, but just you have to go one-on-one every possession. I think even outside of this Knicks, first of all, Brunson's been spectacular in the fourth quarter for the Knicks in that
incredible.
capacity. So that's one thing in itself. But Raj, if I expand it out, all the other games I've watched, the ones that are like non-blowout games, every Denver OKC game has come down to who's going to win their one-on-one matchup or win that matchup. Like
Yeah,
OKC wins game 4, but you rewatch that fourth quarter, Jokic is missing easy bunnies in the paint. Like if he makes those, that's the difference between a 3-1 lead and a 2-2 lead. Obviously, Knicks and Celtics we've talked about. Even the series that the Warriors won against Houston, like that fourth quarter basically came down to Steph playing one-on-one and scoring like every single possession in order to win that game 7. So, like I understand that we should have folks that believe that Lakers should have more organized offense or call more plays and all that sort of stuff. But in the playoffs, honestly, Raj, like we saw it against Minnesota too as well. Teams are just going to eliminate all the off-ball stuff that you want to do. The pick and roll you
right.
want to do, we're switching it. Go screens, we're switching it. Rub screens, peel screens, step up screens, north, south, east, west, whatever types of screens you want to run. We're switching all of that. We're going to make it so that you gain no advantage and you have to beat us one-on-one. And I think me personally, growing up on like 90s and 2000s basketball, this was the kind of basketball that we watched. This is what made Kobe Bryant, like a god to all of us Laker fans, obviously the 5 championships. So this is what it's like. So it's been fun for me to watch the younger generation of fans be like, oh my God, like, does this guy actually suck because he can't score one-on-one? I was like, well, maybe he's just not cut out for this sort of thing. But that's why you see guys like Jalen Brunson kind of stand out. I think it's been really awesome for him.
Yeah, shout out our guy Maples is kind of bringing back the mid-range matters and all that stuff, and it's just cool. I mean, you're watching these teams, Vinay, like 68 wins is no joke. Oklahoma City, that's a shit ton of wins to have in the regular season, and you watch the fourth quarter, and it's like, can Shea hit a tough 2 over Aaron Gordon or whoever it is? And so that series has gotten really interesting. I want to move to one more series before we get to the Lakers stuff. Cavs Pacers to me is fascinating, like as a matchup. And I wanted to ask you this: is there anything in, because I think the other series have been pretty, I don't know, they've gone kind of how I expected. Cavs Pacers really puts the test of what works, in my opinion, an 82 game like sample. Cavs won 64 games versus like a Pacers team that really came on, I believe, later in the season.
Yeah, after the deadline, yeah.
Right, but they just have 300 dogs on that team that do not care that you won 64 games, do not care that you have an all-star backcourt, do not care that you have all-stars. I think they have 4 players that made the all-star team. Not this year, but in totality. Jared Allen has an all-star selection to his name as well. Another Laker candidate maybe. But yeah, just anything you've learned, I guess, in that series and from regular season versus playoff basketball, what matters. I don't know. I'm watching that series going, man, all the stuff the Cavs did in the regular season, it just is not punching at the weight that it should in a playoff series where they're just, I was listening to their broadcast, Greg Anthony and Spiro Diaz, who do a great job. They can't survive 2 minutes without Donovan Mitchell on the floor. Which, like, again, this is a 64 win team, one of the deepest teams in the league. But to your point, like, if all you have are 3-point shooting, then that gets taken away in the playoffs. Yeah, just anything from that series that stood out before we get to the meat and potatoes.
So I think with the Cavs, I see a lot of the same stuff that the issue that I see with OKC. I actually had this conversation with Eddie on the No Narratives playback, friend of the show, Bansky on X. We had this conversation about, like, when you play a certain style of basketball in the regular season and you're just rolling teams because teams are just not prepared to play that kind of style of basketball, or you just play it way better than they do. That is the conversation we had is, can that be a trap sometimes? Can you run into the trap of like, oh, this has worked for 82 games or 64 out of the 82 games that we played because we won them. But then in the playoffs, when teams are hyper focused on you, like as to all what you basically give them 82 games of the only type of basketball that you can play, basically that you think is effective. And the teams go, oh, let's see if they're used to playing this style of basketball. If we can force them to play this way, which is the isolation, switch everything, that sort of thing. Not saying that that's what the Pacers are doing, but like that's what many teams do. Minnesota's doing, OKC's doing, Denver will do it. When they take you out of that, how do you respond to that? And I think when you look at the Cavs and their inability to survive without Donovan Mitchell, and then you look at OKC, which has needed to rely on guys like our guy, Alex Caruso. Every Laker fan complains about every OKC game when he has a good game. I see it all the time. Now it's just noise to me. But Shea hasn't been great in that series. Like, he's been good for a game, but for the most part, he hadn't. Like, especially in the fourth quarter where they really need him to be that guy, he hasn't been able to consistently be like the high efficiency guy that you want him to be. And that's the reason why OKC, these games are ending up being way closer than people realize. But that's Denver saying, oh, you guys are used to playing this kind of way in the regular season, and you just ran over everybody. But now we're going to take all that stuff away and make you do it. I think there is something about that. Like there is a thing where you have to say, look, playoff basketball, your favorite offense is going out the window. They're taking all of that away. Your first, second, and third reads, they're all gone. So what are you going to do after that? That's what has to come down to. And I think the Lakers, when they think about their roster building, they need guys who can win those one-on-ones. You got to win those possessions when it's your best five versus my best five.
Right. And so I don't know where you go with that. That's going to be Luka going at his guy, or LeBron going at his guy, Austin going at his guy. But yeah, I just find it fascinating, Vinay, that all these teams with, I mean, OKC could be down 3-1. I mean, very easily they could have lost that game. And this is with Jokic. To your point about Shea, Jokic as well has been pretty terrible this
He hasn't
whole
been good.
playoff series. Just cannot hit a shot. Aaron Gordon turning into freaking Kevin Durant is just the most amazing development that I've seen. But fun playoffs. A lot of I think this is the as the kids say, this is Adam Silver's NBA. A lot of parody going around.
Yeah.
I think it's a good segue, Vinay, to the lottery.
Yes. Speaking of Adam Silver's NBA.
Yes, his NBA. We are living it.
We get Cooper Flag landing on Dallas, which for Nico Harrison must be a spectacular recovery. This is like I know you don't watch UFC, but this is like the guy almost getting completely choked out from behind and somehow finding a way to get out of it and then winning the fight. Like Nico was like public enemy number one, clearly to everybody in Dallas. Yeah. And this dude, somehow Adam Silver throws him a lifeline. So it's insane that he's got. So anyways, is the lottery rigged? Probably. Who knows? Like, there's no way to accurately tell. I do think it's kind of fishy that like we get Luka gets the first pick. We get Anthony Davis. New Orleans gets Zion Williamson. Somehow Victor Wembanyama lands in San Antonio because he has French ties to Tony Parker, and there's all these French people that players are like, that's coincidental. We'll just say that it's just very coincidental. Also, so for me, Raj, the button on this conversation of whether the NBA is rigged or not, if AJ Dubnsa, who's supposed to be like the number one pick for next offseason, he plays for BYU, and I don't know. I know you don't follow college like that, but him going to BYU, being the kind of prospect he is kind of a surprise because BYU is not like a huge program. It's a good program, but not a huge program like Kentucky and Duke and those places, which he could have certainly gone to. But him going to BYU, if he ends up landing in Utah in 2026, like, all right, dude, we can just say that this is all rigged. Can we just say you're picking where to put these guys? It's all right. I understand that. But that's also notice to all the other NBA teams that if you really want the first pick, you need to trade your star player to the Lakers.
Right. Yeah, that's
we can take care of.
Take care of part number one, and Adam Silver takes care of part number two. I don't know. The rig stuff is funny. There are some real coincidence. Like someone's in the chat, drop is mentioning LeBron leaves Cleveland, and they immediately
they get 3 first.
And they actually blank on two of them because it's Wiggins and I think Anthony Bennett or something is one guy who not sure where he's at. I guess the counter is, I mean, the Lakers were in the lottery 3-4 straight years, never got the number one pick, so there's some of that as well. You can kind of counter to it, but I'm happy for a lot of the people I know that cover the Mavs.
I'm
got
happy
a shot.
For Mavs fans. Yeah, for sure.
It's so crazy how this works. Like a lot of them, just how the industry works in terms of like a lot of sites and pods and stuff were like, you talk about down for the count or comeback, Nico Harrison's comeback, a lot of Mavs content and all that was all in a really strange place. Because a team without Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis as the leading piece, we love AD, but as like a person who gives off anything to work with, very little in that capacity. So they were just kind of gifted all this, for lack of a better term, content to go with. The Spurs getting number 2, I think, is sliding way under the door. Like that is absurd. They leaped Charlotte, they leaped Washington, the Wizards, Utah. Yes, all teams who deliberately tanked this year were awful, gave their fans awful product for a very large part of the season. A bunch of teams jumped them, which I don't know. This is not the time for that conversation in terms of flattening the lottery odds, but Dallas gets their number 1 pick. What a transfer of power. Dirk Nowitzki to Luka Doncic to Cooper Flag. Do not miss a beat. getting their getting the white superstar to Dallas.
Yeah, I'm already
That'll
seeing the migration back. The Luca folks that came here, who are like Dallas guys, but also Luca guys.
some
I'm starting
Cooper
to see them
Abbeys are
migrate
coming
back
out.
to Dallas. Yeah, they're like, oh, I guess I don't have an issue with Dallas anymore. So,
Did you
so
watch? Did you watch? Oh, you don't watch with the sound on, but they were doing the pregame, and they were giving like Nico like flowers. I'm like, like he did nothing. Like he had zero to do. There's a 1.8% chance he jumps up. Like there was nothing to do. With that all. Shout out my guy Wall. I support them not moving that pick. I'd be highly shocked that pick goes
I don't think
anywhere.
they're moving that pick. I don't
Yeah,
think they're moving that pick either. I think they're it's found money for them now, and I think it changes the calculus of everything for Dallas.
me too.
They're not like we, like you and I've discussed this, or Laker fans have discussed this too as well. We're like, now that Luka's here, you're kind of on Luka's timeline. Rob has so much said that out loud too as well. But now, if you have Cooper Flag in Dallas, you're not really on Kyrie Irving's timeline anymore, or Anthony Davis's timeline anymore. So where does that kind of leave them in terms of like what you want to do in the long term? If somebody comes to you and says, prior to landing the first overall pick, somebody came to you and said, would you move Anthony Davis in the offseason for the right thing for this young guy? Because, we're trying to win a championship now, that sort of thing. Dallas would have probably said no. But now you have Cooper Flag. Maybe that changes the calculus of some of that conversation.
Yeah, two things on that. Number one, like this, he's gonna have to contradict every timeline conversation he had because he said his timeline was 3 years. Number two, the amount of two-way word that's gonna come out of Nico's mouth for the next like 3 months is gonna be absolutely insane. The little slide shots. So this is a two-way guy. This is a two-way guy. This is a guy that guards. Just expect to hear a lot of it. And I think Cooper Flag. I watch zero college basketball, but people I trust and respect have him in the top. I don't know about generational, but an extremely high coveted number one pick. So yeah.
Do you think we'll get a full circle moment and like Nico will be driving in a Tesla after games or roll down his window and start signing autographs?
No, I don't think so. But I do think this softens the relationship for sure, especially if Cooper Flag goes nuts in summer league. I'm sure we'll see something where he's a little bit more able to come out front facing towards his fans.
Yeah.
But
and so Laker fans, opportunistically, because we're always paying attention. Ramel,
does this reopen the bridge, Renee? Is this bridge a little easier to cross back to? You know what I mean? A little easier to reopen the lines of communication.
Yeah. So it would be interesting to see what would happen. From what I've heard, not to dive too much into the trade stuff because we'll dedicate all of it. This Warriors Wolves game took way longer than I thought it was going to take. So we're not going to go too long tonight, folks. We're going to definitely discuss this Giannis thing because that's kind of the big news that we wanted to discuss. But there are opportunities for the Lakers to improve their team in that center position with a guy like Daniel Gafford, with other players around the league that have been named. It might not be a one-to-one thing, though. It might be one of those things where the Lakers function as the third team to take that center on their team and to send out a guy that maybe that third team would rather have instead of a guy like Daniel Gafford, right? So let's just say hypothetically, I think I floated this before, but let's just say Dallas decides, hey, we still want Kevin Durant, and they want to make a trade with Phoenix, but Phoenix says, we don't need Daniel Gafford. We just don't want another center. They have this young kid, Ogudaro or something like that they like. The Lakers could step in and be like, okay, we'll take Gafford. Is there somebody on our team that maybe Phoenix wants instead that we can send to you? Something like that. So I think there are going to definitely be opportunities for stuff like that to happen. I do like the fact that we have JJ Redick to be sort of the basketball guy to help guide Rob in the direction that we have to go. But I will take Rob at his word. I think I'm hoping that he's not aggressive, but like proactive instead of reactive when it comes to it. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. Raj, all of this stuff has happened. The playoffs are still going on. We might have another like 8th season in a row, a brand new champion. We have Cooper in Dallas. We have the Spurs, who might be players for a guy like Giannis. The third storyline that I think is even more interesting, Raj, is I think Philly has the 3rd pick overall or the 4th pick overall Philly has a situation where
Yes.
they have Paul George, Joel Embiid, Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey, and now you have another young guy that you might potentially add. Do they use that pick to maybe move Paul George out of there? Do they use that pick to maybe say, hey, you know what, we can't wait for Joel Embiid anymore. Maybe we'll try and go for somebody that makes more sense for us. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think that's just another thing. That's like an interesting situation to see.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of movement. Everybody's been anticipating a lot of movement, and I think it's going to be interesting to see if that happens. But the big guy, the guy that we've been hinting at indirectly, slyly, and then also more deliberately as the season's kind of waned on. Um, Giannis is now open to exploring opportunities outside of Milwaukee if it makes sense for him. I think everybody has been waiting for this. I know for a fact that many GMs in the NBA have been waiting for Giannis to make this announcement before they make any move because they want to have conversations to see if he's attainable or not. And of course, we just got Luka Doncic. And so there's no reason for us to think that we can't get Giannis, no matter
Right.
how
What doors aren't
preposterous the
open?
deal. Yeah, the so as long as it's not impossible, we'll always believe that it's possible.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your initial ideas, your idea of adding Giannis to the Lakers.
Right before then, I just with the news that I guess news or whatever it was, our buddy, our guy Shams came out and Vinay, would you call this like a soft? I heard, I think Zach Lowe mentioned it. Like he called it a soft launch trade request,
Yes,
where just threw a little feeler out there. You know what I mean? Little let's roll the ball and see what sticks.
very tactical.
That's
Yeah,
that's what it came off to me as in terms of yeah, Giannis hasn't directly put in his 2 weeks, but he's definitely showing up late. He's not coming in on time. I don't. It felt like a really soft launch, trade. And I was looking at his contract. I think he has 2 years left
mm-hmm.
guaranteed before a player option.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested in terms of what leverage or not that gives him in terms of being able to pick his destination. But as we've seen throughout, not this year, but like as history, star players get to choose their destination in a lot of places. And the qualifications for what he's asking for kind of narrow the playing field in a lot of ways. Feels like he's asked for another star to play next to a young star to build with to win championships. Yeah, quiet quitting as the kids say. Yeah, he wants to play for a championship right away, which again I think it really narrows your position down. But yeah, this would I think break the league again. Giannis would be I think the best tradable guy in the last 10 years that would go on like an actual open market in terms of what you can get. A still 30-year-old player. I still can't wrap my head around Giannis and just a trade request and what that would ask for. But I know you have a lot more detailed, thoughts on this. So I'll hand this to you. But just do you believe this was a soft launch trade request? Because that's what it came
Yeah,
off to me.
yeah, 100%. Yeah. This is him getting in front of the, hey, I'm not going to sign an extension when you guys when you guys offer me another extension the following year. Like,
Gotcha.
so he'll play next year, or he might ask out early. That's really the question. Like, is he going to ask out as soon as this offseason, or is he going to ask out, or is he going to play out a season, which kind of doesn't make any sense with Dame out for the whole season, and you're kind of really cut down, your roster's really depleted to some degree. Which makes me think that it might happen sooner than later. But I think this is more or less what that is. This is basically him. It's one of those things where it's just like he's letting the Bucks fans know to some degree
Mm,
that he's going to break up with them and to like start getting your mind in that direction so that when it actually happens, you don't feel like, oh my God, this completely took me out of the blue. This has been like a big thing ever since like the decision, because it's like when you catch or like not
right.
even the decision since when KD went to the Warriors, because when you do something so abrupt, it really messes up the fan base. And Giannis is beloved by Milwaukee fans, and
Absolutely.
I think they love him a lot. And he has a lot of equity with them. So I definitely think that's what that is. Now, he did mention, I think Shams has mentioned that some of the preferred places that Giannis would like to go include Los Angeles, Miami, and New York.
Mm,
And obviously, there's 5 teams in between those three places that he could go to. So
Big
it'll be
market.
interesting. Yeah, it's a big market. It's interesting to see that he famously said that he would love to see all European players in big markets.
He has some interesting quotes. If you go back and
Yeah,
read between the lines with Giannis, you can pull threads
yeah.
for sure.
But I would say that I don't think so. When this happens, Raj, the first thing everybody does is starts throwing out packages. Like who can give the
Sure.
best package for the Bucks to get what they want. I would just say this: I don't think it's going to be a bidding war for Giannis. Meaning
Mm,
that I don't think the Bucks are just saying, "Give me your best offer." All 29 teams that are interested in him, give us the best offer for Giannis, and we're just going to take whatever the best offer is. I don't think that's how this is going to work. A guy like Giannis, who's had a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that he's put into that franchise, um, does kind of get to shortlist some of the places that he wants to go. And I wouldn't be shocked if that list is way shorter than people think, like 3 teams. And
mm.
so I think the Lakers have a very good chance of being one of those 3 teams. But there's some more complicated stuff that we have to figure out with our salary cap and the players we have on our roster to make it work. But let's put that all aside, Raj. Let's take the math away because it's mathematically possible to get Giannis. Let's say we have
Sure.
enough picks for him, and that the Bucks are okay with the picks and the talent that we're going to send back to him. I want you to talk to me about the basketball fit
Oof.
of Giannis, and I'm going to do it with all 3 of the guys because they're here with LeBron, Luka, and Giannis.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the basketball fit just off the top. We don't have to get all in,
Right.
all the way in it, but just talk to me about the basketball fit
Yeah.
that you think of.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's places you can pick, and if you want to, you could pull straws. But I mean, that is just first of all, I think the league. I think half the league would riot. By the way, just Luka Doncic and Giannis in a what got Luka in February. So if you go to jump to July, May, June, yeah, like a 6-month period, you hand Los Angeles, Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think there would be some pitchforks
Yeah,
outside of wherever. I think it's Secaucus is where
yeah,
the NBA is
New
positioned. But yeah,
Jersey.
let's throw that all out. Beautiful basketball fit. Yeah, I think there's some who screens for who stuff that they'd have to figure out. But someone else asking if the Knicks make the finals, they trade for him. Absolutely. Like
I think every team
Giannis is
considers trading for him. Yeah, depending
Giannis
on the
is a
cost.
Giannis is a top 3 to 5 player, and he can be any one of those. He can be 1 through 5 and all that. Just incredible basketball player who impacts. I just joked about two-way, but Giannis fills that position as well. Hasn't defended the same as he did in Milwaukee a few years ago. I think a lot of that is the offensive burden that's been put on him, but just one of the best weak side rim protectors, in basketball, still an incredible rebounder, gobbles up 12 to 13 rebounds in his sleep. He and Luka as a pick and roll pairing should break. I thought Dame and Giannis would work. I remember I came on this pod and I was like, I'm
Yeah,
high on that as a basketball nirvana pairing,
yeah,
a jump shooting dude paired with the best rolling player to ever exist, maybe as a pick and roll partner. Hasn't worked out. I think Doc Rivers being a coach, I don't know, whatever it is, something didn't
yeah,
work. Dame obviously not being Dame, but yeah, that'd be a beautiful basketball fit, man. You pair the best generational ball handler with Giannis, and that could be LeBron, that could be Luka. I think he fit well with Austin, but uh, yeah, it's just that script would, I think, not just be gold; it would be burned by a lot of the people watching it.
yeah.
So it's like these comments, like I think they're in good faith, like I totally understand what he means by fix. Like
Disagree.
I understand that. But that is that was like like picking on what a Giannis Luka fit would do. I think it'd be absolutely absurd. I can't get
Yeah,
my brain there because I can tell you have, but I have not been able to get my brain to that yet.
yeah.
But how about you? What do you dream with me over here? How would you feel about a Giannis
That's a great. That's a
Laker
great
fit?
way to put it. Dream with me. I'll dream with you. It's honestly, I have heard like counterclaims and using the evidence of Dame and him not working together as to why like it might not work with Luka and him. And so for my thing is Dame's a smaller guard. He's much more perimeter oriented. He wants to take jump shots. So I don't think he would be a natural pairing. But when you see him play with a guy like Chris Middleton, when you see him play with other guys, like I think it's not about his screening. It's more about his willingness to be the downhill threat that the ball handler needs to be in order for him to be impactful. Because I've seen him also be successful with Drew Holiday because Drew would find him like in his when he ducked down into the rim after screening or slipping a screen. And I think that's what's really the main difference between like a Luka Giannis pick and roll or any screening action with both of them versus Dame. Like Luka is 6'8", like he's finding Giannis for lobs and easy buckets, probably in a way that Dame couldn't. No, respectfully to Dame, no offense to Dame, but I think the basketball fits really great. I think the real question is, if you have Braun in this situation too, like how do you fit all three guys to where they're comfortable to do it? And I think that's really that's really the thing. I will say Braun has been pretty fantastic off ball, like in kind of picking his spots. So like I don't have to. I'm not really too concerned about him IQing his way and fitting stuff in. But then we also have Austin Reeves. And so like there's a fourth guy now that you have to kind of account for and that sort of thing. But I think the fit makes a ton of sense. Do we get, Raj, let me ask you this. Do we get, Giannis likes to play the way AD does in the sense that he wants to play the 4 and then in the clutch, he'll play the 5. Our defense gets significantly better if we add Giannis to our team, right? And if he's like our starting 4.
Absolutely. Giannis, I think, is one of the best. I mean, he's a defensive player of the year winner. I believe he won DPOY and MVP in the same year.
Yeah,
over AD. But both of them, I think, I think AD is a better defender, but Giannis as a team defender is incredible. Just a monster on that end. I think he's a little bit overrated in terms of an on-ball guy, and obviously the attacking Halliburton stuff was what it was. But yeah, I think it would fit. I think LeBron just wants to win, so I doubt he cares. But I think on the other side, this is what I want to ask you. I think this is interesting because we always, we look at it from a basketball fit, and I think that's correct. But you watch Milwaukee recently. I think Giannis wants to be this on-ball player who, like, his mid-range jump shot attempts have skyrocketed, right? And he's hit them at a respectable rate. To his credit, he's put a ton of work into that. You could tell. But I think that's an interesting question of what does Giannis want to be? Like, in my opinion, and I think he'll screen in the right when the timing is for it. But I do think Giannis wants to be bring the ball up, control the action, get screens set for him, inverted screens or whatever. That's what he runs a lot in Milwaukee. The Dame stuff, I think if it was Portland Dame, this would look different. But yeah, just any not concerns, but do you think that's what Giannis like? In my opinion, Giannis does not want to be a big man. Like he does not want to be a guy that just waits and screens and then screens here and screens like it. And to be honest, his talent has skyrocketed. That like he's past that in terms of what he can do versus what you would ask for him. But I think that's interesting too, is that Giannis is a guy that wants to be at the top of the key and controlling. He wants to be coming off screens and have the ability to take a pull-up jump shot. Milwaukee's offense late in games was a lot of Giannis at the top getting a screen and him deciding where he goes with the basketball. These are just picking at straws here in terms of what we're picking on, but I think that's an interesting conversation too that I think would have if this. I just, again, the package that the Lakers, I know you said the package wouldn't matter as much, and then I agree with that to some extent. I do think Milwaukee has a responsibility towards its organization where they have to take something that makes, they just watched Nico Harrison get filleted for 8 months.
Fair.
And they can't go and accept Rui Hachimura and a first round pick. Pretty honest, you know what I mean? Like 6 months after that. So I think that's where it gets a little tricky. Obviously, the Lakers can boost that offer in some ways, but I think people pretty much know what the package would be. And I don't know. I can't get fully there, but any thoughts on, I guess, what Giannis wants to be as a star player in today's, because who he is now is different than he was 5 years ago, right? It's grown. His game has improved, and again, to his credit, but this is a different Giannis than the guy that was screening for Chris Middleton and
Yeah.
Drew Holiday for scores.
So he really strikes me more as a guy who like wants to play basketball the way he likes to play basketball, but also a guy who wants to be able to take a step back when he can't, so he doesn't
Mhm.
have to like do everything. Like that's honestly, it feels
Good
like that
point.
to me. Like I'm watching some of those Bucks games against the Pacers, and at the end of games, he's not looking to try and like dominate the game. Like he'll dominate
Mhm.
the game in the first quarter, second quarter,
Right.
third quarter. In the fourth quarter, when teams are really loading up on him, he's aware that like he has to rely on his teammates for him. Like Gary Trent Jr. has a crazy game 5 or 6 or whatever it was before the turnover that ended that game. But he has a crazy game himself. Like Giannis is willingly giving up those passes to his teammates. And I think there is some natural synergy between like where he's at. Like he's done it on his own. Like Giannis
Sure.
has been the big dog, and I don't think he's looking. I mean, he's still the big dog. Like he's going to
Been
go
the
to another
Finals
franchise.
MVP. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be a big dog, but I don't think he wants to always have to be the big dog like all the time. And so, from a basketball perspective, for me personally, it's just you have a 6'10", 6'11" guy, near 7 foot guy, who runs like Orlando Shaq, and is a physical specimen still, super durable, not super durable, but durable, and plays with a high motor rebounder, like all the things that I feel like we lacked, against this Minnesota team, and we lack as a team right now. I think Giannis helps bring some of that for sure. He's not as cure all for all of it, but I think if your two core guys are Luka and Giannis, and now you're building a team around them, I think that's a great, great place to start. And so I don't think that's an opportunity for, if Milwaukee says the door is open for a conversation, I think the Lakers have to have that conversation. You
Oh,
can't just be like, nah, we're not going to do it at all. I think you definitely have to do it.
you fly to Milwaukee at midnight to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And I know you're not doing this, but I see this. I guess a tone of it. I see it in terms of a. Yeah, I mean, if the way you phrased it, right? Luka and Giannis is a great place to start. I want people to understand there are franchises that have never. I'm gonna repeat this. There are franchises that have never had a player as good as Luka Doncic
Yes.
and as good as Giannis Antetokounmpo. There are
Yeah.
franchises that have 30 years have never touched a player that good. Sacramento Kings, God love all the players that have come down through there, have never had a player as good as either of those two guys. Could have drafted one of them, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you look at the league and how it's going and how quickly timelines close, a Luka and Giannis pairing would be absolutely nuts and insane.
Yeah.
And I think it's very easy. And the Luka trade has something to do with this, but we've just become very numb to this type of stuff because of the player movement that's gone on. But
Mm-hmm.
a Luka and Giannis combination, like I think
Yeah. I don't think you can pass that up. Yeah.
no, yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to destroy any stand bases that are going on, but let me just put this clear. Anything not nailed to the ground and whose last name isn't Bus is being put on whatever
It's
they need to
expendable.
do
Yeah.
it is expendable for Giannis, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's not expendable for anyone else, but Giannis Antetokounmpo there's a lot of names that would be thrown in. Whatever that needs to get done would get done. And so yeah, I have a hard time getting to the point where finding how that deal gets made. But again, I honestly didn't think you get Luka Doncic for one first round pick and whatever the package we
Yeah.
did. Now I don't think Rob Pelinka and whoever the GM is in Milwaukee are as
I
tight.
think it's John Horst. He just gave himself an extension recently.
Is it
Yeah.
John Horst?
Yeah. John
Okay.
Horst. Yeah.
Okay. Good luck to John Horst because my God, what a landscape to kind of
Yeah.
canvas for and try to find a group with. And I'm with you. I think Giannis gets to pick his destination in some capacity. Now I don't think it's a straight line. Like I'm sure there will be some conversations of what can go on, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so let me we're not gonna go, folks. We're not gonna go too long because it's so late. Because that Warriors game was awful to watch, and it's gone so late. So we're not gonna do like the full hour and whatever. But I'm gonna ask one last question.
Mhm,
Not one last question, but one scenario. I want to pitch a scenario to you, Raj.
mhm.
You can decide how real it is. If it's a real
Okay.
scenario, if it's not a real scenario. Chat, you can decide if it's real, and the listeners, if it's real enough scenario, I'm just gonna propose it to you because no, you and I learned some stuff behind the scenes. We know some stuff behind the scenes. So I just want to propose this scenario, and if it happens to come true,
Okay.
maybe we'll run this back and we'll be like, oh, I guess we were right. But we're just speculating. Let's say, Raj, the Milwaukee is open. Giannis says, you know what? I don't want to spend an entire year in Milwaukee knowing that Dame's not going to be available, knowing we can't really add anything, we don't have any assets, blah blah blah. It's not fair to the fans of Milwaukee. It's not fair to me, Giannis. So I'm gonna do it this offseason. I'm gonna ask for a trade this offseason. Milwaukee, I need you. I'm gonna give you 3 teams. It's gonna be the Miami Heat. It's gonna be the Brooklyn Nets, and it's gonna be Los Angeles Lakers. I want you to see the best deal you can possibly get from those 3.
Okay.
And whatever the best deal is, you let me know what it is, and I'll let you know like if we can make it work. Like if this is if I'm
Right.
cool.
If that team is still good enough for me to go there with that deal.
Because this is a thing. Superstars do have the ability
100%.
to do this, to pick and be like, I don't want that guy in the deal because now the team's completely gutted. Okay. So let's say that's one thing. That's one check box that we have to get checked out. Let's say Giannis says that to John Horst and the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's check that part off. Now let's say on the other side, Raj, that the Lakers are eyeballing Giannis. They're also eyeballing LeBron James. And they're like, all right, look, Luka's here. Everybody knows it. He's not necessarily the guy, currently he's the guy that we're pairing with LeBron. But in the future, he's kind of the guy who's going to take over for LeBron when the time comes. So we're looking at LeBron and we're saying, okay, LeBron, your extension's coming up. We'd like to know how long you'd like to play basketball for. LeBron can only sign 2-year extensions, 1+1 or a 2-year deal, that sort of thing. Let's say Bron comes up to the Lakers and says, you know what? It's been great. It's been a great run. Basketball has been so good to me. I'm super happy. I want to retire a Laker. Michael Jordan is going to be commentating games on NBC. I don't want him commentating my games ever. So I'm going to retire next season.
Oh my God.
I'm going to opt into my player option. You're not going to reveal to anybody that I'm retiring next season. We're going to make up a story because, Nike has to do its rollout and I want to be able to announce it myself, blah, 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 that sort of thing. Lakers like, yeah, Genie's like, yeah, of course. We respect you, Bron. You brought us a championship. You announce it the way you want to announce it. We won't even announce the extension until you decide to let everybody know. Bron's like, all right, cool. Now you take that checkbox, the Giannis one, and then the Bron one checkbox. Now Milwaukee comes to you and says, okay, if you want Giannis, you have to send us Austin Dalton the first, a swap, maybe a couple swaps. Austin Dalton the first, a couple swaps, and whatever filler. Gabe, the expiring filler, because we don't want all the long-term contracts. It's really right. Austin Dalton and the picks that we want. As a GM, Bron is retiring in a year before anybody else does. Next year's his last year. Giannis wants to be here, and that's what the package is going to entail. I'm not saying you have to make the trade with those guys, but I'm just saying let's just say that's what it is. Are you entertaining that conversation?
I mean, of course, I think you have to. Yeah. I don't know how this would work, but throwing all that aside, and I think the LeBron one is a real conversation. I 100% believe now. I think the Lakers would prefer for him to opt out and sign at a lower number so that they can get a little bit more work under the apron, and have a little bit more flexibility. But LeBron, I'm not sure if he's going to take a pay cut on his final deal. So we'll see what that. There's some I don't know. Well, we'll see with what's going on. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the deal you just have to do, and it'd be interesting. I mean, you look at the 2 teams you named. You named the Nets, and who's the team you named in that?
The Heat.
The Heat. Yeah, I mean, both of them don't have great packages either, really. I mean, if you look at the packages that the Heat would, I'm guessing that Bam would not go in that deal because that wouldn't really make a lot of sense. I'm sure they would like to pay. Yeah, they would like to pair. I'm sure Bam with Giannis. That'd be the whole point of going to get Giannis. The Nets one, I mean, what would you sell Giannis on with the Nets? I mean, just
He's probably colluding to bring somebody else there. Maybe, who knows?
yeah, you can sell them on New Jersey or New York and Brooklyn in whatever capacity you can. Look, I think the Lakers will have a seat at whatever table. Luka Doncic, nothing against LeBron, but Luka Doncic at 26-year-old just gets you in to conversations that you just couldn't before, right? It's just like when you signed LeBron in 2019, it puts you in rooms that you honestly shouldn't be in, right? It's
Yeah.
just we're in this room because we have 34-year-old LeBron who's been to 9 straight finals. We're in this room because we have Luka Doncic who's 26-year-old and every other player would like to play with them. It just gets you in the room. And the Lakers are going to be in this room. Now, how many feet are in that room? We don't know,
Yeah.
but the reporting is going to have both of our feet in it, no matter what. And so we'll see how this goes. I don't know, Vinay, Rob delivering Luka and Giannis in a 6-month period is something that
What a turn of fortune for him. So I guess I lied. That was a penultimate question. The final question is: would you be okay knowing that you would have to trade your depth to land Giannis, knowing that LeBron was playing his final year, and you're going to have kind of a top? We know the whole issue with the top heavy roster. No matter what
right?
the fit is, it's very hard to hit on the margins with Vetmans and Justin
Sure.
Taxpayer Emily. Would you be okay with stomaching a season with a top heavy roster, knowing that LeBron is going to retire after that
Yeah,
season?
I think so. I think
Okay.
you bite, and again, like just I want to reiterate this point: biting the bullet with Giannis and Luca as a core, tenant of that is not really biting a bullet, right?
Yeah.
It's like taking one little spoon of Robitussin because you're sick. It's like it's a very minutia thing that you would be doing. The LeBron retirement would be interesting. Would be fascinating. How much that coincides with a title chase, right? It's very interesting. Kind of comparison there, but yeah, I think you would have to, and yeah, I think you'd find guys, and again, having Giannis and Luca on the team opened you up in other doors, right? You're first in veteran men signings because that's
Yeah.
where the stars would like to play. All the big men who want to come and catch lobs, that's where you come for.
Yeah.
All the ring chasers would all flock to here. You get to live in LA and chase a ring. It's just it puts you in rooms that you shouldn't honestly be in. But yeah, I think it's gonna be I think, Renee, this is a real conversation that's gonna go on this summer. And it's going to, I think, hold up a lot of
Yeah.
whatever's going on. But
Yeah, I mean, Giannis's decision for sure. I can tell you right now is I mean, there's literally GMs that are like, yeah, we're not doing anything until we know if Giannis is available or not, because we're not going to use assets on a guy if we think we can potentially get Giannis to help our team out. But I really wanted to ask that question because I think there is a situation where the Lakers have to decide: do we not punt a season, but do we risk a season with a top heavy roster and get Giannis now because he wants to be here now, as opposed to wait this situation out. I don't have any insight in regards to what Braun wants to do, but I'm just saying if he decided that he wanted to be done playing basketball, and this was his final year, injuries are catching up to him and stuff like that. But he's an adult; he can figure it out himself. Like the Lakers can make that. Should they strike now? Should they go now, or should they wait and play the long game? So I think that's a very real situation. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. And so it would be very interesting to see what that situation would look like for the Lakers.
yeah,
Go for it.
well, we're gonna have a lot of decisions. I mean, I think we started the show with Tatum's injury. I think
Yeah,
there's a full kind of domino effect that has in terms of what Boston does this summer,
yeah,
right? You mentioned the Cooper Flag going to Dallas. That opens up all these other avenues of trades that are not open, right? All of a sudden, that dark door comes with a lot of light. It's like, oh,
hmm
this is all the options that open up. We have a franchise guy we can build around. Anthony Davis, it was cool having you be the franchise guy for 3 months. That was very nice. But again,
Cooper
nothing
Fly is
against
here.
AD. Yeah, but you're right. Like, no, I'm dead serious. Like, this is like really how franchises move.
Yeah,
They move very quick. And Nico, as we can tell, is a cold-blooded MFer in good and bad ways, I'm sure. But yeah, it'll be really interesting the kind of doors, and whoever wins the title this year, I know that will change kind of how things will move. But yeah, this is what Adam Silver wanted. You get all this parity, you get all this all
Movement.
these teams, yeah, and it's just very easy to shuffle cards. Like if Cleveland gets bounced in the way that we think they're about to, all those salaries that are all fun and cool, all of a sudden they get examined, right? Jared Allen at 35 million is no longer a really cool story. It's now
Yeah.
you've stunk in 2 straight playoffs.
Yeah.
You can't be here next year. Like,
Yeah.
it gets dark quick.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
fascinated how this.
the Jalen Green conversation for Houston. You're paying him $32 million. You drafted
Yeah.
a kid behind him, Reed Shepard. Tari Easton's coming off the bench, another guy that they like. I know they like a lot. You had to rely on Fred VanVleet. Like, how much time are you going to give Jalen Green for that team? You know, and continue to pay him the money that he wants. That's it. Not just the teams still here, even some of the teams I've gotten knocked out early. So it'll be very interesting to
Our
see.
our guy KD is live discussing everything in 4K. But another interesting one as well. Phoenix got
Yeah,
what, 10th pick? I don't remember what pick they
yeah,
got,
something
but
like
they
that.
got
Yeah,
some some pick that doesn't matter. But they got like a really low pick. So I don't know how they kind of package. There's no way they run that back. Does Houston
yeah,
go and steal Devin Book? I don't know. It's fascinating, all the avenues that are at play.
yeah,
Like, I think Giannis to Houston was a real thing a few weeks ago, and then Jalen Green just destroyed. Was awful in the playoffs, and now it's like, what does Houston do with Jalen Green?
yeah,
But yeah, man, a lot of cool
yeah,
storylines
yeah.
going in.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how everything works out, folks. We wanted to focus on the Giannis thing because that was sort of the point of conversation. Most of the major point of conversation today. The goal was to dive into some more offseason stuff, more technical stuff with the roster, ability stuff with the roster. But this Wolves game, was awful, and it went on way too late. I thought it'd be way over sooner. So instead of making folks stay up too late, what we'll do is we want to keep this Giannis centric, and we'll leave this Giannis centric. And what we'll do is we'll continue this offseason series. You've got part one where we talked a lot about basketball and the roster, and now you have part two with the Giannis edition is what I call it. And then we're gonna have part three. Probably Raj will do Sunday night like we normally do. This past Sunday was Mother's Day, so we were all busy with our families. But we'll probably go back to doing our regular Sunday night stream, and we'll do part three. And I have some notes, Raj, about some of the stuff that I've seen in the playoffs that's really, really important that I think we should discuss. And I'm looking forward to it. But folks, we appreciate everybody that was able to tune in this late in the evening, especially on the West Coast. Anybody that's on the East Coast or overseas, you guys are incredibly amazing because you guys are able to stay up this late just to tune into the pod. So we appreciate you. We appreciate all the support that Lakers Detail gets. We hope that you guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful night whenever you guys are listening to this. I will get this uploaded to Apple and Spotify in the morning for y'all. And if nothing else, we'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.
Peace.